Alright, so welcome back, guys. Once your first time here, I'm Vision here, Born Entertainment. In our video, today talking about what I think is one of the things that we need to see from Power Rangers in the coming future, moving forward. And this might upset a few of you, but it already does exist in PR, so I don't really know why you'd still be here since it already exists. But I think we need more diversity to move forward with PR. Now, when I say diversity, look, Power Rangers has always been diverse. The cast has been diverse from the beginning. We've gone through, 30 years now of, we've had pretty much every form of Ranger out there. And Hasbro did start dipping its toes in there. Now, when I talk about diverse Rangers, I'm talking about a couple things here. One, kind of more women empowerment, which I know is a it's kind of questionable thing, but I'll get into that. As long as more diversity in regards to LGBTQ things, which again I know is a big issue for some people, and handicapism or disableism, and one thing I'm going to talk about also, because it does go into other areas, is some changes up in regards to masculinity and stuff like that within PR. Now, those are the main core ones I want to talk about. Now, there is one thing I want to touch on here because it is something that one of my followers has been kind of, I wouldn't say bugging, but kind of been kind of pushing for. And I just want to address it here since I talk about diversity. And that's the idea of having a homeschooled ranger. And I'm just going to get this out of the way because I'm very blunt, honest. And if you don't like my answer here, I don't kind of care. You can unsubscribe to me if you don't like it, or I offend you. But here's the go around. No one cares about a homeschooled ranger. Literally, no one cares. I know you do, but the majority of people who are homeschooled also, for the most part, it's a lot of research shown here, so I'm not gonna have to do much here. You can argue with me if you want, just be respectful. But the majority of people who are homeschooled are the conservative people who do not like diversity. So they ain't watching that anyway. Only a small fraction of people who watch PR are homeschooled, and no one cares. Whereas the rest of these diverse categories are much more wider. No one cares about homeschooled ranger. If you don't like how I'm saying this, I'm sorry. I'm just being blunt and being honest. No one cares about it. No, it's not needed. PR doesn't even use the high school aesthetic anymore, except for anniversary seasons. If you look at PR, for the most part, they're all adults for the most part and have 9-to-5 jobs. Look at Dino Charge, Samurai didn't have them in school. Beast Morphers, they worked in an organization. And even in Dino Fury, they only one that was in school was Izzy. The Power Rangers are portrayed as adults, which honestly I think is a better move in altogether. That whole teenage with attitude thing kind of ended with the Zordon era. Pretty much once you got into the post-Zordon era, for the most part, they were adults. You did have Dino Thunder where they were, kids in high school. But for the most part, PR has moved into a more adult-centric thing. But I just want to touch on that because I know you're going to call me out on that in the comment section most likely. But I'm not talking about that diversity. Again, nobody cares. No, it's a small niche group of people, and I'm talking about more bigger forms of diversity within the fan base. Again, also, and I hate to generalize this, but it has been shown that majority of people that are homeschooled are conservatives who hate diversity. So those type of people aren't even watching PR. So, yes, maybe you are, maybe you're, okay with it, but the vast majority of people who do homeschool their kids are anti diversity. So, I'm going to move on from there now. You might disagree, but I'm going into the more big areas of diversity that I want to touch on. Now, the first one I want to talk about is what I said about kind of female feminism kind of things there. Now, when I talk about this, I know I'm going to get a lot of big stuff here in the comment section. I do ask that you please be respectful, no hate. I will delete any hateful comments here. But in regards to female, I'm not talking about this big female empowerment. What I'm talking about is a little bit more like kind of respect for women in the show. One of the things I don't really like, especially if you look at certain seasons of PR, is especially the Pink Rangers are more used for eye candy. Yes, some of them do have, character arcs and development, but a lot of times, especially with Pink Rangers, they will cast an attractive girl to play the Pink Ranger, which in my opinion is one, very sexist, two, very inappropriate, and three, just not needed this day and age. Look, I know there are people who like that, in the 90s, Kimberly is every guy's first crush. But now we're in our 30s, 40s, however old we are. Can we move on from the eye candy? It's just a little bit cringy. Give these characters more than just them being cute or pretty. It's weird and creepy at this point. Move on from that. I think they did a good job with in Cosmic Fury / Dino Fury. They did move away from that of Izzy and Amelia. Same thing with Beast Morphers. Zoe wasn't as like that eye candy kind of thing. But they did that with Ninja Steel, with Sarah, Megaforce, with Gia, Samurai. They did it with Emily. They always do that, and the whole eye candy thing just needs to be moved away from. Also, put the women in more lead roles. I like that we finally, after 30 years, we finally got a female Red Ranger for the entirety of a season. It was long overdue. I know people will argue Lauren. Yes, we had Lauren, but she was only in the show for 5 episodes. And I think Amelia did the good job well. I know there are mixed feelings on whether you like Cosmic Fury or not. I did enjoy it. But I want to see a Ranger who is a female woman, whatever you want to say, started from episode 1 to however long the season runs, episode 40, or whatever, however many episodes that the season has. I want to see the female Red Ranger. We got a piece of that. It did work out. And one of the things that drives me nuts that I always hear the excuse for over the past few years is, well, the Red Ranger and the Sentai is a male. If you make them a woman in MMPR, they won't match up. One, you can get around that. Like, you can cast a female or a woman who is, on the more, muscular side, or they could, work out. I'm not saying that they have to do that, but that's just a thing that they can do there. Actors do these things all the time and are able to get certain roles. And again, I'm not saying, they have to be more masculine women. I just want to see a woman as the female Red Ranger altogether. Again, I'm just sick and tired of the eye candy and just men more in power. It drives me nuts, and still drives me nuts to this day. I know it's been 20 years now and at the end of SPD, Sid and Z were still yellow and pink, while Sky and Bridge were promoted to red and blue. That still irks me to this very day. I know in the comics you had JJ become the Green Ranger. I don't care. It just still irks me to this day. They don't even get respect there. They should have been the ones promoted. It just drives me nuts. I know I might be in the minority, but I just want the female characters to be less eye candy, more arc focused, and at least give us more female Red Rangers. That's all I ask for. The whole modern day thing, if you don't like it, I honestly don't know why you're watching Power Rangers for 30 years. Power Rangers has always been about diversity. So, it's time to move on with this diversity and put women more in big roles as the female Red Ranger and make them less eye candy in this franchise. Because it's just, again, it's weird, creepy, and kind of gross. So that's one of the areas I want to work on. Then the next one think they should move on to, and this one is kind of a big one for me because I fit this category, is more Rangers who have a disability or are disabled. I myself am disabled. I'm legally blind, as you might be able to tell from, maybe the title of my channel or whatever. But I think we need more of characters with disabilities. And, they could be different kind of disabilities. You could have learning disabilities. You could have things like, a physical disability. There are different avenues they can take here. And I think that is something they need to do. They sort of did this, again, with Cosmic Fury when how he lost his arm, but again, it was a very short season. It was something he didn't really have to deal with that long. It should have been an arc. It was rushed because of Cosmic Fury's short run. But I think we need that. Simon Bennett did an interview last year. I did a whole video about his interview. It was roughly a year ago, so you could go check that out on my channel. But he did an interview and he actually said like he had planned moving forward for more of like he had planned for and concept art even I think of doing a ranger who was in a wheelchair and like his wheelchair like had different weapons to it and like did something along the lines when he morphed. I think that's such a cool concept, and I think that similar to women, disabled people aren't very well kind of represented in PR. There are a large percentage of people out there, whether it be learning disability, physical disability, etc. It's a lot of people out there. So I think when you put a character out there who fits that role and people see the representation there, it goes a long way and is respectful. Again, PR is a very diverse show. It's strange to me that it wasn't done in 30 years except for a few episodes in Cosmic Fury. So, that's just how I feel. I think, like, you need to, and I feel like, I don't want to say this, because I feel like, especially the diverse people, the woke people, there are certain things you need to add. I don't want to say, like, check boxes, because, like, again, the anti-woke people will jump on me for that, but I think, I won't say that you check off boxes, but that you should try to hit on certain topics, at least. At least bring, light to certain topics. Again, you don't even have to have a full-on ranger have a disability. It could be a ranger ally who helps them. If you look at Cosmic Fury, just doing this video now, I remember Izzy had a cousin who had a disability. Again, it was a small character, but maybe do like say like the tech person or the mentor is someone who has a disability. It doesn't have to be a ranger themselves. I think it's something that should be represented because again, it is a large group of people. Think about it. You have a ranger team pretty much consists of all demographics in regards to race. So I think you should start to incorporate that into PR. Again, I don't want them to just check off boxes. I think they should do it organically. Because I know the anti-woke will jump on me saying, oh no, now you're just checking boxes and you want diversity. Look, we need diversity. I will say that. But it needs to be organically. There's a way to do diversity that's organically, but also a way to do it where it's just checking boxes. I want it organically, not box checking. Just do it where it's done right, not forced, and is respectful to the people that they're representing, and not just something that you're shoving down someone's throat. Now, that's just how I feel on that topic. Now, just take a break. I want to remind you all to, if you made it this far, definitely take a quick second, hit that like, subscribe button so you don't miss any more PR content from me. My analytics show like 90% of you aren't subscribed, so it'd mean a lot to me if you subscribed. The channel's been growing a lot quicker lately, so I would just really appreciate it if you took 5 seconds, just hit the subscribe button, turn that bell icon, so that way you don't miss any more of my PR content moving forward, as I will kind of try to be doing more consistent PR videos. I'm thinking my schedule most likely be Tuesdays, so, just stick around for that. If once we get more information on the Reboot series, I'll be covering that as often as possible. So, I'll try to have videos out every Tuesday, so definitely stick around if you're into PR. Now, moving forward into my next category of what I think we need, and this is something that I feel like this could go in a few different ways, but I think, and this is another thing Simon Bennett talked about that he was going to incorporate, was a plus-size ranger. Now, here's the thing. I feel like this is a very touchy subject because it goes into a lot of body image things, and some people might say you're kind of being pro, like, body image certain ways, but you could do it in different ways in regards to body image. There are a lot of different things. Maybe you could do like the ranger trying to fit in, because there are a lot of different things in regards to body like image or stuff like that. It doesn't just become something just because, say, you have an eating disorder or like just some people are just built differently. So I think that would be another important message to throw into PR. Just something there for PR to explore with, a plus size ranger. Again, these people exist out there. And it doesn't have to be like a fat phobic thing or pro like that. It could just be something where you could talk about and touch on how people are built differently. Some people are skinny. Some people are just more thicker than other people. It's an area where I think hasn't been touched upon in PR. And I think if done right could be something that brings awareness to certain topics and a group of people out there. So I think, exploring that angle would be a very positive thing to do and bring light to a certain group of people that aren't always represented in a good light. Now, my fourth and final topic here I want to talk about goes into kind of, I don't know how I'd say this, a masculine role or something like that. But I think one thing we need, similar to the female Red Ranger, goes in the opposite direction though, but a male Pink Ranger. This has been a topic that's been going on for years now. It's well overdue in my opinion, and I think that it's something that should have happened by now. I think that there are a lot of boys and a lot of men out there who do like pink. It's their favorite color. Boys who do grow up that way. A lot of dads will try to prevent it, but I think, it's okay to show kids, hey, here's a boy, he's the Pink Ranger he likes pink or stuff like that. It's an important aspect here. I think it is something that needs to be talked about more. I think in that interview I mentioned earlier with Simon Bennett, he also had mentioned that he had planned for a male Pink Ranger. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I think, having a male Pink Ranger is just brings a little bit more kind of attention to certain things. Like I said, there are boys out there who like the color pink. They pick that as their favorite color as a kid, whether it sticks or not. That's a whole different thing. But as kids, they do like that color. And I think it's something that they shouldn't be ashamed for or something that shouldn't be looked upon as negative. It should be a pro thing. PR, again, also is aimed for younger kids, even though we are adults who also do watch the show. It's something that they should touch on and do another aspect on within PR. I think it's another thing that's well overdue. They, have talked about it in before, especially the fact that it's been a big topic within the fan base. So it's weird that they haven't done it in 30 years plus, because I would have thought they would, because it has been a large conversation within the fan base. At least that I've seen that it's been a large conversation. So I'm surprised it hasn't been done yet. So maybe in the new reboot season, it'll be something they touch on, and maybe it's be something they explore. This isn't something, again, similar to like other topics. This is something they don't even have to be pushed in your face. Like a male Pink Ranger, like, okay, that's a big deal. Unless you're like the macho guys out there who think boys only like blue or whatever. I don't understand the big deal of this. I think it's well overdue and something that should be done. Now, I forgot this fifth and final issue, and again, this is similar to the Amelia being the Red Ranger thing. This has kind of been touched on in Cosmic Fury, but I do think they should put in a touch more of LGBTQ plus characters. We had it with Izzy and Fern. Again, this goes kind of tricky with the whole thing about disabled people and pushing it down their throats. I think that, again, this is an area where it shouldn't be an A plot. It should be a B, C plot kind of story within the characters. Again, this could even be like a side character. I don't want it to be just checking boxes. I want it to be done organically in the story. They did a good job of Izzy and Fern, but I think they kind of played it a little bit safe there. Didn't go too deep into it. Again, this is a kid's show, so, I feel like you can do it in a way that teaches kids certain things. It's like, and here's the thing, because one of the things I think LGBT is looked upon as bad, especially by the anti-woke, is like, they think it's being pushed upon them. They're indoctrinating your kids, all this bull crap that these anti-SGWs people say. But again, they do it in a subtle way. You don't make this a big part of the story arc. You just make this a BC plot. and it brings awareness. Again, I always say of LGBTQ stuff, they exist out there. Parents might not want to show it to their kid, but it exists out there. You have to grapple with that. And if you don't prepare your kid for that, they're going to walk out into the real world one day and have like a complete 360 thrown at them. So, there's a way to do it that's good. There's a way to do it that's bad. I think doing it subtly is the right way to go. And you can do it with a way where people aren't arguing that you're indoctrinating their kids or all that bullshit that people will yell about. But yeah, those are just some of my thoughts, opinions. Those are my top things I think that they should touch on within the new Reboot series. Just embrace diversity more. PR has always been about diversity since its inception. If you don't realize that by now, I don't know where you've been. Like, it's just weird if you haven't realized that it's about diversity at this point. Now it's 30 plus years old. But yeah, those are just my thoughts, opinions. Let me know your thoughts, opinions. Are there certain aspects that you think I missed that they should touch on in regards to diversity? And I'm talking about the big aspects, not like the stupid, if you're still here and I don't mean to offend you, but the stupid homeschool ranger, that's just, who cares? No one cares about that. And talking about the big five here: female Red Ranger, more kind of disabled characters, plus size Ranger, male Pink Ranger, and then LGBTQ stuff. Let me know all your thoughts, opinions about that. Are you for it? Are you against it? Are you in the middle? Do you think they should do it subtly, like I said, and not check off boxes? Let me know all that good stuff in the comment section down below. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts, opinions regarding more diversity within PR. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit subscribe button down below. Hit that bell icon. This is more parents content for me moving forward. And go for me on Instagram, Twitter, which are linked in the back section of my YouTube channel. As always, I'm Vision Herb Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.